Hello. What an exciting thing to have you right here on my YouTube channel. Rev Kathy Kiuna, guess what? I want you to like, comment, and then I want you to share and subscribe. And out here, you're going to get a lot of nice things. So please go ahead and invite your friends and subscribe to this channel, and God is going to bless you. Listen, we bring Women Without Limits, and we have amazing, amazing stories. And we've been talking about fathers and men. And you want to know that men are chasers. They chase careers. They chase women. They chase life, basically, because they want to achieve, because men are achievement oriented. And so they're forever chasing and chasing and chasing. And today I have a guest that I believe is going to be a blessing to you, even as you hear. But by the way, what are you doing?
I'm chasing.
See? He's chasing. Chasing though. So his name is Ramsey. And Ramsey, you're welcome to Women Without Limits.
Thank you, thank you.
It's so good to have you.
Pleasure.
Yeah? Yes. So now maybe you can stop chasing, we talk.
Sure.
Okay. Tell me who you are and, first tell me who you are and where you're coming from.
Okay, my name is Ramsey.
Yeah.
I'm a photographer by profession.
Photographer?
Photographer by profession. And on the side, I create awareness about epilepsy through photography.
Okay.
I'm 32. Sometimes I tend to forget.
Yeah, you're 32.
Yes, I'm 32 years.
Okay.
Yes, mi nimetoka Western huko kwa Waluya.
Aha, yes. Wewe ni Mulunje.
Watu wa ugali.
Kwa hivyo ugali.
Yes.
Na nini? Ugali na murenda?
Ngoho.
Hey, yeah, I forgot Ingoho is the biggest one.
Yes, yes.
Kuku munapenda.
Kabisa.
And you don't leave even bone.
No.
Munamaliza, mtu anauliza, what did you eat at the chicken? Where are the bones?
Nothing goes to waste.
You ensure zote zimeenda.
Kabisa.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
It's so good to have you. Do you have siblings?
Yes, tuko na lineup kubwa sana.
Ya wangapi?
12.
Wow.
Yes.
A whole football team.
Kabisa.
That's amazing. One mother, one father.
One mother, two fathers.
Hello. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So tell me about your growing up. Like, as we are talking about fathers, we are talking about men in general. And tell me about growing up. How was your growing up?
Every time I think about my growth, I get a little bit emotional. Because I came from a rough period, rough background, huko Western. My father was a cop, former AP, and I was diagnosed with epilepsy at a very young age.
What age?
My mom tells me I was born with it, but my first encounter I remember was around 7 years old. 7. So that's when my experience.
Recollection.
Yes, but she tells me that I was born with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at 7 is when now you
Yes.
started to get
Yes, at
seizures.
7, it's when I can remember my experiences. It used to happen before,
Yeah.
but my experience now, my recollection tells me at the age of 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and were you growing up at that time with your mom and dad? And how was that? How was your relationship?
At the age of 7, as I said, that's when I remember my first attack. And around that period, marriage ya Madena, my father was a little bit shaky. And I remember after a few months after my attack, that's when my father left. So I didn't know the reason why behind they left.
Oh, but your father left after
Yes,
this?
just few months. Yes, so I grew up blaming myself rather, because I was like, 1 + 1 is 2. Few months after my attack, you left. So my psychology as a kid, that's what my thought process was.
That it is because you were ill that he couldn't handle.
Yes. Yeah, so that was my thought process.
Yeah.
And the fact that as a kid, you see some things and parents tend to think that you don't or you don't understand. So my father was very abusive towards my mother. Like, I can even remember the first time he physically abused that picture. And until today is convinced that that is a seed someone planted in my head, but it's not. I remember. I can even give a very, very clean description of it.
Of how you saw him hit her.
Yes. I can even give you the location, the description, everything.
Right.
Yes. And when I asked my mother what age was that, and she tells me I was around 3. So
From 3, you could see the physical abuse.
yes, that's the first time I saw.
Yeah. And it affected you?
Yes, until today, especially when I see him.
When you see him?
Yes.
So you say they left each other at what age? When you were 7?
When I was 7,
That's when he walked out?
he walked out. And then now my mom was left to figure life by herself.
With how many children?
Back then tukiwa Western we were 2.
Yeah.
And then akabarikiwa na wengine wawili.
Okay.
So we were 4.
Yeah.
And then when my father left,
Yeah.
so she had to figure out. So I was forced into maturity at a very young age because at 7 you don't. So I had to, take care of my little sister. Mother anaenda job. Lisha mtoto mara kadhaa saa fulani.
Anakwambia?
Yes, because there's no other choice.
Can you imagine 7-year-old being told to feed your little sister?
Yes.
You're as little also, because
Yeah.
7 is little, but you're like taking charge of a grown up.
Yes, because now mother has to hustle, afaa kutafuta.
Yeah.
Kuna mtoi hapo wa 1 year, 1 year, 97. Actually, come to think of it, I
Yeah.
was 6 and a half, not
Yeah.
even 7 exactly. So ananiachia anaenda kutafuta do, working, everything. So anaambia patia mtoi food saa fulani, make sure amelala saa fulani. So you find that as a kid I don't have time to go and enjoy life as a kid. So
You were forced to grow up like
Yes.
instantly.
yes.
Yeah.
And life has a way of catching up.
Yeah, I know.
So-
So your mom would come and now ask you whether you fed your sister
Yes.
and all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So eventually the environment ikakuwa too toxic because ilifika place breakfast because Cliff now alikuja akajipata kwa role lingine. Cliff is my brother and he found himself in a weird role because he was forced now to act as an elder brother because when seizures attack I have no one else to attend to me. So my small bro has to take care of me. You see, so it was really, really messed up because everyone had to take a role.
Yeah.
So things were so bad that sometimes tunaenda shule ukiwa umekula maembe na chumvi breakfast. And unapanda mti, unatoa, then you go.
You eat the mango and you go off to
Yes.
school.
So
Yeah.
there's just this anger because you're forced to see life as an adult, you start thinking like an adult. And I'm like, don't I have a father? Because when you see other kids, shule, parents meeting, back then it used to be common.
Yeah.
So mother hawezi kuwa job, hawezi kuwa shule. So
you're on your own,
Yes.
literally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then unafukuzwa, unaambiwa lazima ukalete mzazi. So you feel isolated as a child.
Abandoned.
And then there's an element of epilepsy.
Yeah.
And then there's this anger that inaanza kugrow ndani yako. I really hated him. I'm not going even to lie.
Your dad?
Yes, I really hated him. And to an extent that if he called me or he spoke to me, immediately that is a trigger.
For epilepsy? What? If you heard his voice?
Voice or just anything, or it was so bad that it affected even my relationship with my brother Cliff in a way, because yeye ni carbon copy of my father. So
Looking at him, he was
Yes.
reminding you of your dad.
Exactly.
And you were angry.
Yes.
Were you feeling, like you said, you were feeling like your father abandoned you guys as a family because of your epilepsy?
yes, actually the word I use is not feeling. I was sure because I'm a kid. Like you left. So it was that bad that anytime he'll try to talk to me, he will go through his sister because he knows from the moment I hear his voice.
You're angry.
Within seconds. And even to an extent, if you look at my hands, sometimes I have to control myself because when I talk, my hands shake when I talk about him.
When you talk about him?
Yes.
This is just about him?
Yes.
Like you get that angry?
Yes.
My goodness.
So when you see me flexing these hands like this, it's not tension. It's because
You're talking about him?
Yeah.
My goodness. Okay, tell me, did you talk to your mother about it? Did you talk to anyone?
Now, this is the thing. When you bring the picture, the epilepsy picture, into play, things get a little bit complicated. Because, in a way, how do I put this? It's like, now, I'm just grateful to be alive.
Yeah.
So I understand, because you need to remember that I'm thinking like an adult at a young age. So I'm like, are you going to complain about your seizures? Or are you going to just be appreciative of the fact that you've eaten and umepata dawa? You see? And this is the thing about epilepsy. Just because umemeza dawa does not mean that it will not attack.
Or even with the medication?
Yes, that's why they say epilepsy is treatable but not curable. Si kama malaria tutameza tembe na ishe.
Yeah.
So there are other external factors when they come to play, triggers, that, so vitu kama hizo stress, anxiety and things like that.
So stress and anxiety are triggers?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Very serious triggers. Actually, they are the worst.
Yeah.
So when you incorporate the anger that I had towards him, it was only safe that I was protected away from him. So I'm not going to say that I was the sole reason why I shift, because partly she did because of herself to avoid the abuse and go and restart. Then akatupeleka huko kwao, huko Kambani, which started another mess.
Because now you're from Kakamega huko.
Yes, huko to be precise, Funula kwa kina Mudia Wori. Yeah.
Umetoka huko Ukambani?
Yes.
Whoa. So who was from Ukambani, your mom?
My mom. So again, that shift. Now, there's a pattern here. There's a pattern of identity crisis, because now the place that used to feel like home is no longer your home, and now you go and you find yourself in another environment that is totally strange to you.
You don't know these people.
Yes.
They are speaking a different language.
Exactly.
You don't know nothing.
Exactly.
But yet you're supposed to fit in.
Supposed to fit in, you're supposed to adjust the culture, everything, the way of life.
Yeah.
And also you need to remember that you are trying to fight for acceptance, because they are not just going to embrace you, because there was also another politics, you know, those relative politics. Yeah. We both know how family politics operate.
Yeah.
So, you know.
So they are not just embracing you.
No.
It's like you stranger, you know, like
we
why
were
you...
literally reduced into, you know, shamba boys, watu wa kwenda kuchunga ng'ombe, kwenda kulima. And I know they are not going to appreciate me saying it, but actually most of the things I'm telling you here is just me talking. I've never told anyone.
Yeah.
It's just what I've been thinking and I keep to myself.
Yeah.
And so you find that now it's like you have to convince them why they should accept you as their own. And some of them were very vocal in saying, you don't belong here. Kwenu ni uko Western. And the place that you are told is home.
They don't want you. Your father has already left.
Yes.
So it's both sides is a shake-up.
Yes.
We are talking about men and the struggles that men go through, because in this Father's Day, Father's season, we need to find out how boys and men can be transformed into becoming the leaders that God wants them to become. So this is amazing. So now you're rejected there, you've been rejected there, and you're angry because of your father.
Yes.
Are you getting treatment?
Now, that's another thing. Now, ironically, my late uncle was a doctor. And I used to buy medicine. My mom used to buy medicine from him. And for some reason, at some point, alikuwa ananipatia dawa. And then I remember, and I wish some things I don't remember. One day my mom came, because hiyo siku sasa alikuwa akitupeleka huko, alikuwa anapata time ya kuja Nairobi kuhustle. Actually, that's when she used to come and meet with Nicholas, because, yes, so one day she came back home, and at that particular time my uncle alikuwanga akinipea dawa. But because ya job, hangeweza kukaa. So she had to come back to Nairobi without saying hi to my uncle. So, this is your brother, you see. And then my uncle got mad because my mom never said hi. So what did that mean? Aliacha kunipatia dawa. So it meant every 5 minutes I'll get an attack. Sometimes it will go a day. I'll get like 3 to 5 And that's on a good day, because if you don't treat epilepsy, it's ugly.
It gets worse.
Epilepsy kills, and that's one thing people don't talk about it. I have five friends that I've lost through epilepsy. Something called sudden death in epilepsy, which means I can be talking to you right now and then tomorrow. And then you wonder, Ramsey was good. So
God forbid.
So like, it was so bad. And then within this period, I don't remember what happened, what transpired. Somehow, nikajipata tena Western. I remember nikiwa peke yangu. At that particular time, I don't have a recollection of my brother. And I think it was something to do with, because mother wanted to ensure there's that relationship between, mpaka leo anatuambianga ni mimi nilikosana na baba yenu.
Not you.
Yes.
That's a good mother. By the way, that's the other thing, Ramsey, and it's good for us to talk about it now that we are talking about this. A lot of couples, when they are at loggerheads, they are fighting, or they even leave each other, they involve their children and they pull their children out of their biological fathers.
Yeah.
And it's really not right. I like what your mother did, where she told you she wanted you to build a relationship. No matter how bad, it was them, not the kids. So it's so important for couples to always remember that the kids should relate.
It's true, though sometimes I wish he was not that mature because I wanted someone to back up my anger. You see, when you feel like someone is in your corner.
Yeah.
So even today, I can go and complain to her. Maybe I've spoken to him. And, you know, I can go on, you know, it's like I'm on steroids on Evermang, and he's like, careful boy, he's your father. So I'm like, who are you on? Like, you're
whose side are you
yes.
on? Yeah.
So back, like I said, at some point in the attempt maybe to establish that relationship between my father and I found myself Western. And I remember there's a time dawa zikakuja zikaisha. And then my grandma akaanza kunipatia this traditional, you know, men, kunilambisha jivu, nini. Within a week, I was admitted in a hospital. Within a week. So, and Made ndio alikuja akaona, like,
it was bad.
It was bad. Nilikuwa ni kama mtu ako na Down syndrome. That's how bad it was. Mdomo, maso ilikuwa huku. So, luckily, ile wakati alikuwa na waki na hospital. Like, kama help huko. Yeah. So, it was easy. Nikaenda nikakuwa admitted, nika-recover. Then nikarudishwa tena huko.
Yeah.
So, this really worsened things more because...
Between now you and your dad,
yes,
it became worse.
Even sasa pia huko kwa kina my uncle's side, because I'm like, now what am I supposed to do? And then there's an element of school, because yes, I'm a child, but I also need a social life.
Right.
So when you take this anger, now put it on my social life, incorporate the academic lifestyle, and
everything is all mixed up.
Yes.
It's a concoction of issues.
Chaos.
Yeah.
Absolute chaos.
Chaotic.
Yes.
So now here you are, you're still growing, you know, as you're moving to Kambani, to Western, you're still growing.
Yes.
So how old were you at this time when you went back?
Back to Western?
Yeah.
I think I was 8.
Oh, just a year?
Yes.
So did you stay there long?
No. Because when my mom came, she could not allow that.
So she brought you back?
Yes.
So you came back to Kambani?
Yes.
Okay. With your father, did you try to establish something, a relationship, even as your mother was pushing you towards him?
Nope.
No?
I mean, and sometimes I wish I could. It's not that I don't want. You know, it's one thing to desire something, but it's another thing to actually do it. Because, like I said, and let me bring it up. Somehow, like I said, some years back, I found myself in your office. And I remember I came to you talking about, you know, life, Nini, and I was frustrated. I'm getting old, and I'm still in my mom's house. And you gave me a certain example that in life you'll always complain about something. Hakuna siku takaa hivi. And Pastor Morris noticed something, the handshake.
Yeah.
And he was like, and he said something that if I was your boss, because at that particular time I was struggling with employment.
Yeah.
He was like, I'll not give you work.
Yeah.
Because you are talking and I can see you shaking in anger. So, and even you back then, I was talking about, I used to grow up believing in disciplining and, being physical.
Yeah.
And I'll discipline my sisters. And this is the thing you told me. And again, I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
We did a little bit of a role play. And you asked me, let's pretend that you want to come. You are asking a hand in marriage for my daughter.
Yeah.
And I come and realize that you do beat your sisters. Now,
Wow.
convince me why I should trust you with my daughter when...
I did that.
Yeah.
Oh my, which year was this?
Again, it was around that period of 2016, 2017.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
And because, and then that's when it dawned on me that, and
that you have to stop.
It's not even I have to stop, like the reality, the bigger picture.
Yeah.
I can say that is the most, my quote that I came up with. It sank that what I set up a bar, what I consider to be a success,
Yeah.
I used a bar that technically was a failure, at least from my perspective, because my dad, I was like, as long as I've achieved anything he never achieved,
Yeah.
then I've made it, you see. So, like, for example, there's this thing, alikuwa anapenda kulala kwa kiti.
Yeah.
So I can be guest in your house.
Yeah.
I'll rather sleep on the floor, yet
Than
the chair will be comfortable. Why?
Because your father.
Yes.
So anything your father did, you counteracted it. Like,
Yes.
no, I'm not doing that.
Exactly. So if he was here and I'm a little bit here,
Yeah.
maybe there's a potential for me to be up there.
Yeah.
But I'll feel fulfilled. And then it dawned on me one day, I was like, back then I was struggling with purpose and, and all that. And someone asked me, what makes you happy? And everything seemed to center around him. And again, reality dawned that I'm becoming the very thing
That
I
you hate.
detest. You see,
The father you could not stand.
I'm becoming.
You're becoming exactly
yes,
like him.
because I'm beating my sisters. Let me sugar, no sugar. I'm abusing my sisters.
Yeah.
You see, both physical and emotionally. And, like, he had his own anger issues. I have, you see.
You have anger issues.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it became so bad that I started detesting myself. Not even now him. You see, because I'm becoming the very thing. And it's not that I'm trying. It's not that I feel
It's just
yes.
automatic.
And I'm like, don't you think, now this is me having a conversation with myself. Don't you think you should be, now that you experience that environment, don't you think it's only right for you to be something that contrasts that?
Yeah.
But, so, starting loathing myself, depression kicked in, suicidal.
Oh, man.
So, guys, as you've heard my story, I know it's a little bit messy, but I mean, there's no one who's perfect. So, if I can try, please make an effort to try and celebrate the father figures in your life. They might not be perfect, but at the end of the day, it's still your father. You see? So, shout out to every father figure that is taking initiative, especially those that have stepped up in every sense of the word. Say, Father, we are celebrating you every day. I usually say Father's Day is not about a single day. Father's Day is every day. So, yes, happy Father's Day every time, every day, Monday to Friday. So we celebrate you, we love you, and God bless.
Oh, man. So suicidal thoughts, depression, and epilepsy, so all at the same time. Does anybody know at this time? Are you telling anybody or you're just going through it?
My mom, I tried to share with her, but again, remember, because I was conditioned from a young age to be,
Independent.
yes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, mom is going through something. You see? So if you go and tell her this, you are going to burden.
Make it worse.
So I'll filter it. I'll be like, feel poor. You see? And then the misconception about depression is that it has a face. I can be, jumpy and excited. And so that I will not tell the whole story. Everything else I'll be fighting and internalizing, which in process tena. And then the worst thing is that at this particular time, that's when they are trying to initiate a comeback, my father and my aunt, which I really blame for playing a part in that separation.
Yeah.
Yes. So those two, they were culprits that I never wanted. They were just a mess.
Yeah. So tell me now as we speak, Ramsey, what have you done? Are you doing anything to be able to mend that, to create a relationship between you and your dad? Have you healed? Have you forgiven? Where are you?
Number one, I had 21, I had to go to therapy. And the whole idea behind therapy was, the mission was to unlearn everything that I grew up knowing so that I can find who I am and find my genuine interest without him in the picture. And the first period I hate therapy, or I hated therapy because you go there with this problem, like I'm stressed, and then the therapist be like, tell me, where were you born? And I'm like, what is the relationship between these two? Why are you trying to take me? So I went to therapy and, it helped in a way.
Because you see, it takes you back.
Yes.
Back to the beginning.
And which means, going back, there are some elements that will have to manifest physically in me, which means epilepsy.
Yeah.
Those attacks, they'll become frequent. Actually, I experienced, was it last year, I think? Last year, which was very, very bad, that even some members of the church contributed for me because the attack was really, really bad. And that was a period I was going through therapy. And I'm not entirely sure whether it was therapy that reliving this moment and all that, but it played, I feel like reliving those experiences played a role. In terms of forgiveness and healing, usually when it comes to this topic, people tend to want to hear that I've forgiven and I've healed and I've moved on, praise the Lord. Yeah. But in my case, I'm trying.
You're still working on it?
I'm still working on it.
So what are you doing? Okay, first and foremost, therapy is good for you because if you don't confront the issues, they stay hidden in there. And those are the traumas that begin to manifest in life.
Yes.
Okay? And so that is why you face them.
Yes.
And in facing them, facing anything is never easy.
Yeah.
Because it's acknowledging that first and foremost it's there. You understand? So many people don't want to accept.
And even acknowledging that there is a good chance you might have played a role in. And even the people that you hold dear, even including like my mom, she's not perfect. Yeah. So facing the idea that the image of a perfect parent, because every child believes their parent
is perfect.
So therapy forces you to see both.
Exactly.
And sometimes it can feel like in my case, it felt like the therapist was taking my father's side. Because I'm like, hey, he's the enemy. We are here.
Can we just focus on the enemy? Yes. Let's leave me.
Yes.
Leave me out of the picture.
But
and that's why the beauty about therapy is that it actually now brings out the reality and it helps you to deal, because when you face something, you're able to deal with it.
Yeah.
And it's easy for you to walk through. That's why I'm asking you, because if you're saying you're not there yet, you haven't yet, taken a step, I think you shouldn't stop the therapy. I think you should go on so that you can confront this issue head on and deal with it.
Yeah, if I may credit myself a little bit, because my therapist says it's important.
Yeah.
I've, at least right now where I am with him is, if I hear his voice, I'll not get an attack.
Okay.
There's a point we met here after service, just somewhere in the church. And talking. Yeah, wow. Like
he came to see you.
Yes, he wanted to see me and he came.
Yeah.
And that shows at least my progress in terms of if I can sit with him, or I can at least back I used to say if I can tolerate his voice.
Yeah.
And right now, coming to terms with the idea that at the end of the day, as ugly as it is, he's still your father.
He's still your
So
father.
that is where the challenge, and especially now when we bring my stepfather in the picture, because now he became what I wanted my father to be.
Oh, so your stepfather stepped in
Really,
and became a good person?
in every word of the name stepfather, he really stepped up as a father.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
He took us to school.
Yeah.
Katusomesha wote, because initially when mother came,
Yeah.
we were 5. My stepfather alikuwa na watoi wawili. That is a number of 7. And then their sisters, their cousins that we grew up with them, so mi waita sisters. So, and kutusomesha sisi wote 7 of us. And actually mother wanted kutupeleka to grow here huko home, because you know when the marriage is new, you don't want to look like you're burdening. But my stepfather was like, no, bring them.
Yeah.
We
Let's
shall,
just
yes, we shall
grow
live
together.
So, if I may say something, and this was the consequence of trauma, what happens if you don't deal with trauma is that when finally I was able, my brother and I, kutoka kwa hiyo toxic environment yenye tulikuwa, and then tukajipata now start living with our stepfathers, one happy family, I felt uncomfortable. I felt really uncomfortable.
Because of the default mechanism?
Like I remember the first time I used to say there's just too much love here. People are hugging, people like
it's
laughing.
Too much.
Sisi tulikuwa tumegrow kimilitary.
Yeah.
And
no hugging,
yes.
No good morning.
And now here's the most thing. I think my mom had a thing for people with uniform, because my stepfather is a retired Kenya police. So, you know, your biological father is a former cop.
Yeah.
Your stepfather is a cop back then, but their behaviors
are totally different. Yeah.
And then I remember back then, sasa ndio tukaanza kuletwa tena church, kuja church. Then there's a segment that I never used to like. Nilikuwa nakaa nje. Turn to your neighbor, give them a hug.
And tell them you love them.
That used to be very intrusive.
Hey, like, please, which neighbor?
Yes, like
we should just be left alone.
That space, because I'm used to being isolated, being alone. So when you come too close,
you're
if
suspicious.
I get vulnerable around you, I've given you power to hurt me. You see? So like, it meant that I have to keep my circle too tight. And hugging is very vulnerable. I really don't think people understand how hugging is vulnerable.
For people like now who are really fighting for that acceptance, it's like now you're too scared of what it might do to you.
Yes.
Because of what happened to you as
so
a child.
I used to wait out until that segment is done, then I'll come. Most people in media, they'll tell you I'm very good hiding in plain sight, because they know me as a photographer, but they'll never see me
And how is that? Photography with the way you're talking about epilepsy. Yes. How is that? How did you get even into photography?
The irony is, photography, the flashlight is one of my triggers. That is the irony. Now, to answer your question, again, comes in picture someone you know very well, Paul Mukoma.
Yeah.
Back then, I used to be in Mombasa with my mom and my stepdad, and Cliff was a son here, so alikuwa huko Nairobi.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we were too many and hatungeweza pelekwa college. So, at certain age, ilikuwa toka nje and oka.
It's a hustle.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, to cut the long story short, I found myself in Mukoma's office, and I think it's Isabella, I told her the other day that I was still naive in the element of who a Christian is, and I meet Mukoma, I know he's from JCC the first time, and I'll never forget alikuwa na t-shirt ya black ya Tusker. And I was like, do Christians do this? Yeah. Is he supposed to wear that? But now, he asked me, where are you from? And I was like, I'm coming from Mombasa. And Mombasa wapi? Mombasa Road wapi? I was like, no, I come from Mombasa. So he was shocked because I was there before him. And then I went back because the intake was yet. Then he decided to give me an opportunity. Instead of sending me back again, he told me, you know what? We are going to wait until the intake the intake for the next class will just get you here.
Right.
Yes, so that was another struggle, but that's when I can say I started finding myself, at least if I look at it from now, because back then it did not make sense.
Yeah.
So back then I started finding myself, when you are given like last project as a class, I did something, a short script about epilepsy, someone living with epilepsy, and that changed everything.
Wow.
Started writing some proposal, forwarding to random people.
Yeah.
You go and Google. I even wrote one to Richard Branson, and he actually replied. So
He did.
I take pride in that.
He replied.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my email found another organization in South Africa, and it was CC'd to another organization in Kenya, which creates awareness about epilepsy.
Yeah.
And that's when I got my first camera. And that's when now, the moment I held that camera, I had the power and control that I never had, because you have the power to determine, and this is what people don't know about photographers. People have insecurity. And because I know what it feels like to be insecure, to be like, maybe it physical, be it. So when I'm here to be able to give someone a smile, that was a really, really big deal.
Wow.
I was being called photographer madam hapa church. Yes, so,
because you would take pictures and...
So my happiness is in that. And again, it used to look like a good thing until also my therapist pointed out, say this stems from trauma.
Yeah.
Because now I'm giving too much, but what is being deposited in you, eventually that pond will dry. You see, you are giving what is... And when you give from a source of toxicity, the very thing you are giving is what is being consumed. You can have all the best intentions. So not unless you heal, then you're passing out the very thing. And then that's when I noticed that the people that I consider to be friends, the manner in which we met, we share, maybe they were broken from a broken family. Like,
so you share common things in
trauma bonds.
Trauma.
Yes.
Which now doesn't help you to be able to come out.
Exactly.
It's like the way somebody comes from a broken relationship and they rebound into something else. Then you think it's love, but it's it's a rebound.
You could have, like you said it better
perfectly.
Than I could.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me, Ramsey, have you ever dated? Have you ever been in a relationship? Are you in a relationship right now?
Right now, no.
Yeah.
When I attempted to, like the last time, like I was in a relationship, it ended ugly. Niliachwa Aga Khan walk pale kwa parking ya Insurance Plaza. She saw me about to get an attack and she left. Like, of course alikuwa nishamwambia everything.
Yeah.
But she left. And
that was it.
That was it.
She left and left and left. Alienda akiendanga.
Yeah. So this also ilifanya, because you tell people, and here's the thing, and I like telling everyone, there's a reason why in the first aid of epilepsy you are told, before you do anything, calm down. Because hata mi wakati niliona mtu akipata attack, I was freaked. I was freaked. So it's normal. But the manner in which she left, you see, this is someone that, remember, I'm someone who rarely gets vulnerable around people, being touchy, huggy. And when she left, I was like, I withdrew and I went back to the default settings, that the survival, because I know how to survive in chaos. And that is the thing, like, if today, like, let's say I'm talking about a project I'm doing, and someone came and told me, you know what, I'm going to fund you with, let's say, $1 million check. Instead of being, hey, thank you, I'll be like, what do you want? What's your deal? Because I grew in an environment where you have to fight for everything. So whenever you're
being given easily,
it feels like there's a motive behind. And the moment you let your guard down, they're going to hurt you.
So you'd rather protect yourself.
So that was the mindset. So like, and I'll say this because now, when I found, like, I can say a woman that understood that, I self-sabotaged myself because I pushed her away, because I was like, this is too good.
Too good to be true.
Yes, because why? You find that And the first time I met her, because I'll never forget, she told me, Ramsey, you're not an idiot. It's just that you lacked opportunities and platforms. You see, and financially she was way ahead of me kidogo. And now remember, we stem from a society that as a man,
You're the
supposed
one
to do
who
this,
should.
do this, do this. So Nakaivi, and at that, because I knew if I'm to get in a relationship, it has to go to marriage. There's no shortcut.
Yeah.
So I used to look at it this way. She lived in a house that her month ya mwezi moja, she could pay half of my year. You see? So, and this thing, and remember the agenda was to succeed where my father failed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was like, if I marry her, I'm going to subject her to the very thing that, because I'll not be able to provide, I'll not be able to protect, I'll not be able to do anything. And how can you give what you don't have for yourself?
Yeah. Right.
How do you love someone and when you're looking, I say that a lot. You look in the mirror, you don't like the person you're seeing. How can you give them?
How can you like somebody else?
How can you protect someone when an attack, you get an attack here, you're like, it's you and God. Like there's nothing you can do to control that. So,
So, but that is, again, the reason why therapy is good.
Yeah.
Because then it gets you to a place where you accept
yes,
yourself and know that this is where I am, this is who I am, and all that. Because those default settings
yeah,
have to be removed. They really have to. Because you're saying, even when it comes to your father, you're not there yet.
yes.
Are you trying to get there?
Yes, I am. Like I said, we talk, even yesterday, we had an exchange. Like, of course, there are elements that I like to see improvement,
But you're getting somewhere.
yes, at least we can have a conversation.
You're
Yes.
you're deliberate.
Yes. I mean, if I don't be deliberate, trust you me, if I decide now, let's do this my own way, I'm not going to make any initiative. So
You're not gonna go far.
I decided to take this as it is demanded of me, because if I don't demand of myself, I know very well we will never see face to face.
Right.
Yes. So it's something that I had to demand of myself. And especially now that I'm getting at an age whereby I want to marry, I want to settle down, where relationships between parents matter. Because if you're going to marry and then you're not in good terms with your mother or your father, it will affect your marriage.
So yes, I get it. I totally,
Yeah.
absolutely. What would you now advise people who are epileptic or around people with epilepsy? How would you advise them to treat you
Here's the thing.
and others?
Here's number one to people with epilepsy. And it's going to sound a little bit harsh, but it's a reality. No one knows you anything. You see? No one knows you anything. The acceptance, everything, no one, absolutely. You are being helped. And the idea of, I used to be the guy that says we just wanted to be treated like any other human being. That's a lie. Because what you need is someone to help you to be on the level field with other. Because saizi ukiambia mtu hawezi tembea that I'm going to treat you like any other human being, let's walk to town then see. So we need a little bit of boost. So for people that live with epilepsy, the sooner you come to terms with that, it will save you a lot of, because what kills is hope. That hope that everyone, it comes with a sense of entitlement, actually, that
everyone should help you.
yes, she'll help me, she'll do this, and trust you me, you'll be very, very, because everyone is dealing with something.
Yeah.
And no one is going to stop what they are doing for their life just
You're
to attend
so
to you.
right. Yeah.
So find something that works for you, you see, and like if you're lucky you figured your purpose right now, incorporate it with your gifting in a manner that helps other people. You'll find a happy place there. Because I found that the idea that I'm a photographer.
Yeah.
So my purpose was to inspire people through my story.
Yeah.
So I tell my story through photography and, you know, writing and creating awareness about epilepsy.
Yeah.
So healing takes process, and that's another thing. It's not just going to happen. And like I said, I'm in the process.
Yeah.
And sometimes I know they say forgive and forget, but it's okay even if you don't forget, as long as you're
You
not
are
stuck
forgiven.
there. Yes, forgive, because sometimes we learn from the things we never forgotten.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's naive to forget, because you are bound to make the mistake again if you forget.
Yeah.
But move on.
Move on.
Yes, that's
Move
the
on.
best. I don't care what you do, but
Yeah.
move it the right way in a healthy manner. That's,
That's wonderful. That's awesome. And what about the people around you? The people that love you, your family, how should they treat you? And friends and workmates?
Sometimes we might have, and I wrote about it the other day, I know sometimes you have good intentions and sometimes you want to help. But just ask. It's as simple as that. Do not, I call it patronizing stigma, whereby someone might have good intention, but they don't give you a choice or ask, are you okay with it? You see, like you want to help. Can I open a door for you? Or can I do this? Are you okay? So those are the things, and that is the best you can do. Everything else falls within that.
Just ask.
Just ask,
Yeah.
are you okay?
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Can I help?
Yes.
If somebody gets an attack
Yes.
and they fall,
Yes.
what should somebody, the help, somebody who's helping, what should they do? How should they help?
Number one, like I said, you are supposed to calm down because you're going to be freaked. That's definite. Number two, we call it quote unquote common sense. Like if there's something that can hurt them, let's say this table, you remove and unawaleta chini pole pole, that is if they have not fallen down. And if they are down, protect something soft, their head with something soft. You put, because that constant hitting of the head. And unlike that, there's this thing you hear, sijui weka kijiko kwa mdomo, sijui,
Yeah.
Don't.
They'll bite their tongue, so you need to put something.
The damage that you're going to cause if you put it, it will be better if they beat their tongue 100 times. Because there's that sauti yenye watu hutoa during those attacks. They are running short of air. So when the tongue does this, it's gasping for air. So when you put something, you are restricting the little air that wanapata.
From going in.
Yes. And si saa zote mtu tembea na vijiko na mwiko. Let's say I'm doing a shoot at Arboretum.
Yeah.
And I get an attack.
Yeah.
What is the nearest thing to kijiko? Si utachukua kijiti hapo nini. And then when you put in my mouth, hizo particles nini zinaweza teremka. So
they even choke.
Yes. So do not put anything in their mouth, and it's always written in capital. Don't try to give them water, don't try to do anything. Let the seizure continue mpaka iishe. And then ikiisha, roll them on their side. Inaitwa recovery position. Where kama unajua venye mtu lala akisikia baridi mkono moja hapa ingine katikati ya mguu. Hivyo inafanya mtu asiroll. So like if you push them hivi, hii goti inawarudisha. So yeah, and you can
roll them on the side.
Yes.
Don't put anything in their mouth.
Yes.
Leave them to recover.
Yes, and if they were having, let's say, a tie or something tight, just try to loosen it a little bit appropriately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just make them comfortable.
Yes.
Because they come back in a few minutes, eh?
Yes. But after that, I usually tell people the physical element of seizure is the easiest one. What follows next? The recovery, the mental. For instance, when I get attacks, my house becomes a trigger. So I'm usually forced to go to my mom's, so that just a different environment.
Also, a different environment helps.
Yes. It does, a lot.
Yeah.
Just that support.
Yeah.
Like, do not underestimate genuine love, especially now this is me talking to family.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was talking to a friend of mine mwenye mtoi wake alipata attack. An attack that lasted for an hour, which is odd. That's dangerous.
Yeah.
So, and I told her, like, one thing you could do that doesn't look like much, because my mom used to do it. Anytime your kid gets an attack, just go and lie next to them, hold their hand, or just that contact.
Just love them.
Yes.
So that comfort, the comfort, the calm, makes them also calm.
Yes. Like, there's no medical explanation behind that.
Yeah.
But for me, that used to work wonders. So that love, it's very, very, the support of the caregivers is very important.
Yeah.
It does help a lot.
Yeah.
And even I say this because, and now this is me appealing now even to the churches and religious institutions. You find that epilepsy is usually overlooked a lot because of the perception. Epilepsy in itself is a disability.
Yeah.
But the perception that society, when I mention the word disability, everyone here, I'm very sure you think of a deaf, someone who cannot
lame.
walk. Yes.
Yeah.
So when we talk about mental disorders or mental disabilities or brain disability, people don't see that because it's not tangible.
Right.
So they tend to overlook. So when there are medical camps, because the institutions that set up medical camps, you find that epilepsy is nowhere there. You see, and then treatment. I really don't think people understand.
Yeah.
I really, and this is me capitalizing on this platform, taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
People don't understand how expensive treatment is
for epilepsy.
Personally, a month, let's say minus whenever when I get help, 12,000 a month. 12
of only medication.
Yes. And now insurance, the medical insurance is a total joke, because you have a chronic condition, any chronic condition, epilepsy falls there.
Yeah.
You have a waiting period of a year. So if I'm paying today for an insurance to take care of my treatment, I'll have to wait until I renew my policy the next year. So if I'm taking a policy that I'm supposed to cover to pay 55,000, I'll have, let's just say that is 110 or 20 something.
Because you'll have to wait for the year.
Yes. And you have to pay a lump sum for you to be able to access.
Yeah.
And then this thing of they take because treatment of epilepsy falls under outpatient. So you're given 50,000 outpatient, and then inpatient they give you like 2 million, 3 million. So those are the things that people with epilepsy here they struggle with, and you find that in Kenya, for instance, we have 2 million people with epilepsy. That
2 million.
2 million. That's 4% of the total population of Kenya. And 70 of them rural areas. These are people that don't even know what epilepsy is.
Yeah.
You see? So treatment, they struggle even eating.
Yeah.
So how do you tell that person
12,000 medication per month?
Yes. And sometimes I envy the HIV activists, the distance that they've made, and I even appeal to the epilepsy community to emulate something similar, because right now you can walk to VCT and you'll get free treatment. Because of the way they were vocal, the way they advocated. Sharing your story is very powerful. That's another thing for people with epilepsy. Tell your narrative. It's just
you never know out there how somebody can come in and help.
Exactly.
Yeah, like you're saying with HIV.
Yes.
Now you can get those medications anywhere.
And it's delivered to your doorstep.
Yeah,
free
for free.
So that is where we hope the epilepsy community is going.
Yeah.
Because I promise you, I want you to picture this. Eliminate the epilepsy conversation from my life. The narrative from my childhood changes.
Completely.
I've seen marriages that have broken because of a child that has epilepsy.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow. That is awesome. I was asking that because of somebody else who's watching us with the same situation, and they really don't know what to do. And like you're saying, it's scary, because I saw it recently in, I can't remember whether it America. I saw it. Somebody just came and just fell there and started to convulse, and it was not funny.
Yes.
Especially for somebody who doesn't know these things. It's like, oh my, you want to run, then you want to help, you don't know what to do. So I like the fact that now you've told us it's good to relax and let the person also calm down.
Yes.
And, turn them when you can, and, that is really, really, our eyes are open, to be able to see. And for me, Ramsey, I really wish you all the best. And what I wish for you to do is to really get your relationship with your dad in place. I know you've started the baby steps, and I really want those steps to grow bigger, so that it's no longer baby steps, but it's really, you've done it. And I believe it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I believe it's going to happen because you're willing.
Amen to that.
Amen. The other thing is, please just go through therapy so that you can deal with anger issues, and they completely leave you, because again, like you say, those are also triggers that trigger the epilepsy. So if you can come out of anger and be cool, that would be really nice. So I pray for you that will be your story, so that when you come back again on Woman Without Limits to tell the other part of the story that you're married now with children, say amen.
We'll come with a testimony.
Sema amina.
Amina.
Amen. You're watching Woman Without Limits. There is nothing too big for God. The Bible says that He is our creator and He has inscribed you on the very palm of His hand. Your walls are continually before Him. There is nothing about your life that is behind God. Your walls are continually, not once in a while, continually before Him. So if you're like Ramsey, who's going through your own challenges, your own situations, father, daddy, son issues, I want you to know that there is a God who can mend any situation. And so don't give up, okay? Don't give up. Everything and anything is possible. You've had stories here of fathers that had completely left their sons and gotten back. They've gotten back together now, and it's working. So yours too will work. This is Woman Without Limits.
You know, when you see money, you're like, hey, that's nice.
And the money is sustaining.
Exactly.
It's helping you
really...
guys to pay rent, to eat, and all that. Are you angry at that time?
I was like, hey, you know what made me angry was what my dad was doing with the money at some point. He even stopped like going to work and depending on that money to some extent. Hata kama anaenda job, we will not see his money. That money ndo anaiba.
Si unachuna. Wameka vibaya.
Ja.
Loka asubuhi lazima nichomoe.